something was done to that dog.
Well, obviously something that you did, Devon.
Huh?
Something that you did to the dog. I mean, we're live now. Anybody watching the show, Devon scares a dog. That's what we're talking about.
The dog was like that before we got her.
Are you sure about that, Taylor? Could you confirm?
Yeah, man. It took her 45 minutes to even come to me. I'm like, come here, and listen, everybody loves me. And it took her a while to come to me, and she wouldn't. She would not come to me. But now she likes me, she listens to only me. And when it's bedtime, she'll come to my side of the bed and like take her paws and crawl up on my side of the bed, and she's like, like pet my head, That's the only time though. Oh. Only at nighttime. Yeah.
Slowly but surely.
And then I'll sit up from the bed, and I'll sit up from the bed, and she'll see me, and she'll go right back down. She won't come anywhere near me.
Smart.
A dog's smart.
Smart.
Yeah. Keep the distance from Devon. Definitely appreciate that. Welcome to Table Talk. Really, the only wrestling pop culture podcast that you have a chance to interact live with the stars, and we'll be welcoming ours on here in just a moment. But I'm Mo. I'm doing well. Lindsay, you're a little under the weather, right?
I am under the weather this week, but just, it's going to get better. Just getting better.
There you go. Yeah. You got to love this time of year, and got to love this. Life in general in the last 2 years has been something else. Taylor, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Dealing with Devon all day, I would imagine so.
I can't imagine,
Yeah, pretty much. I went without coffee for the past 2 days.
Oh, why?
Yeah. On accident, not on purpose.
Okay.
Accident.
Whoa.
And then I realized today I'm sitting on the couch. I'm like, man, why is my head pounding? I have this bad headache. And I was like, I haven't drank coffee in 2 months. So I had a coffee. Now I feel a little better.
Oh, good. Oh, man, that's terrible. I'm sick and I'm still drinking my coffee.
So, Devon, I have to ask you, has Taylor been a little extra testy these last 2 days? So testy. Look at that. He's stunned.
Can't even answer. Speechless.
Oh, there he is. He's coming back to us now. That's a good one. If only we could have made the glasses a little bit more crooked there. Then it'd be we got somebody under the weather too.
Feel better.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Sebastian kissing our butts. I like it.
No, Taylor's been. She's been.
Hey, Sebastian.
Go ahead, Devon. Go ahead. Nice to have you back, man.
Kyle.
Oh no, thank you.
Your internet keeps cutting out.
Whose internet?
Yours.
Well, you are mine. So I mean, we're together. We're using the same internet. So how come yours is not going?
You're upstairs.
Okay. Well, I'm closer to the router.
Poor Devon. We'll let you catch up, and we'll introduce our guest at this time. He former WCW wrestler, WWE Impact. He is still crushing it as he's wrestling. God, decades later. Welcome to the one and only Shannon Moore.
Welcome.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
We
Devon was having some technical difficulties.
Devon dropped and you showed up, so I don't know. Is he scared of you? Does he owe you money? Or?
Man, I know Devon's made a lot of money in this business. Time to pay his damn internet bill.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Definitely, for sure.
Man.
All right, we're gonna try that again right there. Devon, are you there, buddy?
I'm here.
Bless you.
Oh.
All right.
Welcome to Table Talk, you guys. Nothing changes.
Shannon, what's going on?
What's up, man?
Devon, turn your camera.
Y'all
I'm sorry.
There we go.
Okay, that works. It's okay.
No moment.
Oh, not me. We're gonna put our guest of honor there. How are you today, Shannon? What's going on in your world, man?
Man, I'm good, man. Just busy. I got a lot going on in my life these days. Good stuff, man. It's a good busy. yeah, just nonstop, man, between wrestling, just between everything else that I have going on from a business standpoint. Like, it's just, my days are long, but I am grateful to be able to say that.
Now, Shannon,
Nice.
what's going on with your tattoo? How's that going?
It's going good, man. Right now, I'm just looking for the right location and the right building. I just found one building. I think the last time I talked to you about it, and we were negotiating. My attorney was negotiating, trying to get us in there, but it fell through. So now I'm just back to just trying to find that right spot. As tattoo shops, if you're familiar with them, locations, everything for them to be successful. And here in Tampa, as fast as Tampa's growing now, and then as expensive as Tampa is too, like, it's hard to find that happy medium in the right spot. So we're just searching right now, and as soon as we get it, I got everything ready to go because I've owned shops before from a equipment standpoint. So we're just looking for that location.
Like I told you, up in Tampa, I'm coming down to visit you.
You got to come take
girls' names tattooed on me.
Yeah, I will do it, man. I'll hook you up. Yeah, I love.
Do you actually do the art yourself? Are you a tattooist?
Yeah, I tattoo as well. I haven't tattooed in a while. Like, the last shops that I had, I was just focused on the business standpoint of it because I was so busy on the road. But yeah, I do tattoo as well, and like, I tattoo now just for certain people. Like, I don't just take, like, I guess you'd say, walk-ins. But I have a lot of like fans that'll come through, from out of state and stuff, because like, just my time's so limited. All I can do is, like, at this point, just manage the shop and then tattoo like select hours. So it's just kind of, private session, stuff like that for me.
So what you're saying is Devon is priority, and somebody like me, a normal guy, has to just, has to wait.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Heck yeah. Bring the whole family down. We'll get you all.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna sneak in there too then.
Yeah.
So Shannon, I've always told people this, that one of my greatest matches was with you. I don't know if you remember, on SmackDown.
Yeah, was that Reverend
You
Devon?
were cutting in and out.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was Reverend. Oh, it was. Yes, it was Reverend Devon.
Repeat your question, Devon.
Yeah, I
I'm
do.
sorry?
I said I do remember that match. It was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. And like, dude, that character for you too, man. Like, I loved it. Like, you played that character so good. Like, to a T. Like, that was one thing. Like, it was cool to see you step outside of just the Dudley thing and do your own thing.
Right.
So, but yeah, I do remember that match, man. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that I had, because you've been in tag team with Matt against me and Bubba and things like that, and it was like, working with you was always a pleasure. You were so easy to work with, and there was nothing you weren't willing to do, even no matter how crazy it was, which was, we were freaking out of our minds. But yeah, it was like an honor and a pleasure. Now, the only thing I will say I didn't like, I got a bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh.
Hey, when you were teaming with our protege, Jesse Neal, and Bubba was trying to get on him, I was there along with you trying to separate the two and trying to get them to become friends again. And as I'm walking away, you called me a douchebag.
Who did?
You did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you said Devon is a douchebag.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
It's part of the gimmick, Devon.
Then you said,
It really scarred him.
I called you a douchebag?
and then you said, oh no, I'm sorry, you called Bubba a douchebag. But then you said, Devon, why don't you go back and do what you normally do and be Bubba's puppet? I was like, wow, Shannon.
Oh, man. I'm sorry.
I can't stop thinking about it. Oh man.
Nah, it was that dude. Like, I can say, like, whenever it comes to the boys, and I'm probably gonna kill your gimmick here too, so I don't want to kill you off. But anyways, like, dude, you're probably legitimately like one of the nicest, like, coolest guys like in the business, like out of my top 5. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, it's so crazy. Like, and a lot of people say that about Matt and Jeff too, like the difference in the two. But like you're the Jeff of your team. Like I feel like you were always even whenever I was a kid, man. Before I was even like I don't know ECW. Like I met you in ECW, and like you probably don't even remember that, but this was back. God, I was in early teens trying to get to ECW, and like me and Matt and Jeff, like we come to a couple of shows and I met you. Like you had no clue who I was. You probably thought I was just some kid. But dude, even then you were like super cool. Like just even back in the ECW days. So like, and it's cool because like that's just your true character and who you are, which I always appreciated that about you.
I was always taught not by someone in the business, but my upbringing, people at home, my parents, my grandparents. You always treat people with respect. You treat them the way you would want to be treated.
Yeah.
Don't get all goody goody with them and think you can take advantage of them. And, you don't do that. You don't do things like that. And I've never wanted to do things like that. I've always wanted people to treat me the way I treat them. And it's only then when they go outside the box and then try to do and say stupid things is when now I start to get angry bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's just a matter of like sometimes we let the pro wrestling character or pro wrestling identify who we are as a person. And I think that becomes because like you come from the same generation, like that older generation, and we're told like you eat, you breathe, and you sleep pro wrestling. You have to live it, you have to breathe it, you have to sleep it. And I think like that's the wrong mentality. Like I'm glad that I grew up like that, and like that's the way I was brought in. But I really think that affects like a lot of people's egos because like once you make it, and then it's like you still eat, breathe, and sleep it, and it's like just some people can't separate the two, man. And that's one thing like I feel like you were really good at, and I think I've always tried to do that with what little bit of fame or whatever you want to say I have, but it like to me, man, like I've always wanted to be Shannon Moore the person and treat people from that perspective rather than like me being something special, because at the end of the day I just feel like we're all human.
Exactly.
Definitely.
I mean, that was one of the things, like I said, I loved about you because you were very genuine coming into the locker room. And I can only imagine UCW was there, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sorry, did I go off? I was saying you came, yeah, time WCW came in. So it was kind of cool to see you come in and still do what you did best. And that was the high flying. Where I remember the first time we got in the ring with you, I remember telling Bubba, I was like, man, I can't do none of that high flying shit. I was like, just worry about that. Just do what you do. And I was like, all right. And I was like,
are you saying Shannon wasn't a good dancer when his best quality is the high flying? Because I think he was pretty good.
Huh.
No, that you're absolutely true about that. I sucked at that.
I was saying I didn't know if I could hang, because even when we first came in and we with the Hardys, it was one of those I didn't know, because their style was different from ours, especially when we came from ECW. We were that hardcore type of just punch you in the face and all of that, where Matt and fly around and do things that were extremely like mind-boggling, especially Jeff with his crazy ass.
Yeah.
A little intimidating at first, but then I remember the Royal Rumble, the 2000 Royal Rumble, when we had that ladder match, table match with him, and it pretty much just got the ball rolling, with the Hardys and the Dudleys, and then of course Edge and Chris came in and just added so much more flavor to it. It was so that showed me that regardless to what your style is, if you're a professional and you know how to work, then you can work with anybody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes it magic, man, is like the different styles in the ring. Like whenever it all comes together, like the beautiful symphony. Sorry. But yeah, it's beautiful, man. Like it's music whenever it all comes together and you got those different styles. And speaking of like y'all's ladder matches too, like, you guys, like, it was really hard in WCW because, like, at the time Johnny Ace was coming to us in WCW, and like it was weird because, like, me, Matt, and Jeff, we were best friends, and like we lived a mile apart in Cameron. But then Johnny Ace would come to us and he was like, look, man, like, you guys got a ladder match on Starcade. Like we got to compete with, what's going on with you guys. So like, here we are trying to compete against our friends, which, we're all talking and everything, but trying to come up with something different from the standard that you guys have already met to separate, our ladder matches from WWE's ladder matches. And like, that was difficult. And like I know, and whenever we did that Starcade ladder match, like one of the things that we did to separate ourselves from what y'all are doing was like we tried to build more scaffolds, went like the scaffold scenario with the ladders, and that was kind of our focus, like to kind of separate what y'all were doing at that point in time. And it was difficult, man. It was hard, but it was cool because like we're all friends, and like even though like we didn't know each other at the time that good, it was still like, I heard about you guys through Matt and Jeff every, whenever they're home. So
Right.
it's kind of weird. Like here we are now, 22 years later or 20 years later, whatever the case is. And, we're sitting here talking about ladder matches and not even, like now we're able to talk about like, yeah, like, the office is coming to us going compete with those guys. And like, but I don't know. It's pretty cool, man. Like looking back, like what you guys definitely revolutionized the whole ladder match game.
Well, it's just it's amazing how all these 22 years later, however long it is, people still talk about those matches, and it's just a testament to what we went through to actually get to that. Because we never really thought that WWE would give us that chance to do that,
Yeah.
But when we did, we took the ball and ran with it. That's all we could do. We just could have ran with it, a home run. And that was the great thing about it, is every single time we did that, we had a home run, which was great. But I remember after the first, it wasn't a TLC match. It was called a ladder match at WrestleMania 16 in Anaheim, California. And I just remember when we were done with the match, the cameras caught us hugging each other because we were so happy, number one, to pull it off.
Yeah.
The way we did, to get the response from the people, but most important, no one, and that was one of the biggest things, when nobody got hurt or injured, and we were able to, just pretty much get through that whole, night, especially at WrestleMania. That was special for us. So when we were hugging, we were actually embracing really hard and tight in that video because we knew what the odds were against us, but yet we overcame everything.
Yeah. No, it was you guys revolutionized it, man. Like Scott Hall and like X-Pac, man, like that match that they had, like I feel like you guys like were able, because that was revolutionary too, what they did in that ladder match, so I think you guys were able to take what they did and like take it to the next level. But the bar that y'all set, like like you can't really top it, man. Like there's no way to
Thanks
top
a lot, Devon.
Yeah, so like nowadays, like it's still like whether you're on an independent show, like God, I get calls all the time. They're like, "Hey, we want you to come. Can you do a TLC match?" So you guys pretty much like come up with this match that now like will live on forever because everybody's doing them now. Like trying to step up and deliver a good TLC.
Well, and like you said, the great part about it is, I think the most important is not what we did in the match in terms of tables, ladders, and chairs, but it was the story behind it. I think that was the most important part of it, was the story that we told. We didn't just go in there and throw people through tables, hit people with ladders and stiff chairs. We actually made it mean something when we did it, because a lot of these guys go out there and they do these TLC matches and it doesn't make any sense. It's just one high spot after the other, and you wait for somebody to break their neck because they're trying to outdo what we did. But the thing about it is, Shannon, like you said, it's not the wrestling part of it. It was the storytelling that we told.
Yeah. It was, from a psychological standpoint, whenever you think about psychology, like that's something that just you got. I mean, it was an art. What you guys did, it was, it was poetic because like you guys, that story was so in depth. And it was, you know, like even today, man, like if you go into indies, man, like people don't understand that, like how like it works, whether you're building the show or you're building a match. It's just like they don't understand like how important it is to build those spots, you know, like as the match goes, and to put the, you know, those most important spots toward the end of the match. I don't know why, like you could tell people that over and over, but you guys like you did that to a T, and it couldn't have been no more perfect, you know, just well thought out, well done, and well performed by everybody.
Oh man, you're going to open up the floodgates for Devon there, talking about the young kids not paying attention.
So
Yeah.
I don't have to say it because I think we all know, you know, how this new generation is, and of course, our generation is the last of the real, what's the word I'm looking for? Respectful generation. Where I
Yeah.
just feel like kids today, they don't respect yes, and the only way they're going to feel the brunt of that is when they get to be our age and the years that we put in, that they're going to do the same thing. And then when they got some young punk coming up to them, disrespecting them, then and only then will they know about how respect in the business is lost nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they missed out, man. Like one of the big things I know, if I do like a seminar or something, like, you know, like I try to explain is like, you know, you're cheating yourself by not listening to veterans that's trying to explain this, because like, you know, once you do, you start feeling the psychology and like you understand it. It's like there's a feeling that you get whenever, you know, like a spot does pay off, whenever you place it in the right place and whenever the story's told, and then you hit that spot, and it's like the feeling that you get from the crowd and the reaction you get at that point, like you feel it in your bones and you feel it in your emotion, you know. And it's like you cheat yourself by going out there and not trying to really think about psychology and telling that story and trying to get that emotional attachment with the crowd, you know. Like it's funner to have that, and like then you really like go, man, like I really love this stuff now, because like it's incredible whenever you do get that emotional attachment with the crowd, and like you got them, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's something, and I was just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, I tell you, one of the
I think
like I understand.
we all said this.
I'm gonna mute him for a moment as his internet catches up. Shannon, please continue your story.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So, you know, like I know for me, like in WCW, like I started understanding psychology like a little better, and then like I did it because I did like a year out in Nashville, and like, you know, psychology is a big thing out there because it's old school wrestling. But I'll never forget my first tour to Europe. Like I just did a simple, you know, like we started out and like we were, you know, I was attacking the guy's arm, and then like I was the baby face, and then like they finally like twisted my arm, and whenever I took it back, like just the emotional feeling that I got when the crowd reacted from a simple arm wringer in Europe, it made it like it was like a huge like aha moment for me. I was like, holy shit. So like when stuff's done correctly and in the right place, like the people will react, just where you place it. And like that was a big wake up call for me, you know, like early on, to go like, okay, like the better you can tell this story and make it make sense and build your match, like these people are really gonna get into it then. So it was you know, like I don't know, I was grateful to be able to be so young in the locker rooms and have veterans like yourself, Devon, or somebody else tell me like, hey dude, like this is what it's about, you know.
All right. Well, thank you. And you know, I was just joking about the, you know, Bubba's puppet and all that you called me on TNA. I think we gave you the line to say that.
Yeah, I know, like, because that's like I was sitting here because it hurt me, because I'm going, man, I would never say that about people.
We had,
Yeah, then I was like, that was part of the storyline. Okay, that was
yeah, I was teasing you. You know, we actually gave you that line, and I remember you didn't want to say it. You were like, "No, man, say it. We got to say it. Don't worry about it. Let's do it."
Yeah.
You know, and you know, again, I wasn't one of those type of guys that you couldn't say anything to me and have me get upset about it. You know, because number one is the business, and number two, as long as you don't talk about my mama, We good.
Yeah.
My mom good. You know,
Yeah.
don't talk about my wife either. If I love my wife, don't talk about her either. Talk about her in a nice, bad way. Got
Yeah.
that in there, Shannon, because if I didn't, when I got the podcast,
No.
your mama and the kid. What about me
Shut
like that?
up.
Nice.
That's what I get. Shut up.
One of the favorite stories that we've heard on Table Talk involves Devon. Devon get the tables and how that accidentally manifested into something bigger. It wasn't planned; it just grew organically. Did you have a moment like that in your career, Shannon, or something that you didn't think would work and somehow it picked up and blew up?
Dude, 3 count. I mean, the whole game behind 3 count, like it was God, like just the way that come about, and dude, my character now is kind of that I envisioned from the start. Like I wanted to tattoo myself, like WCW. Like I wanted to, I wanted to be like a rock star looking kind of a sex, drug, rock and roll type character. And so whenever I get to WCW, well, first of all, this is it's a long story, but I guess it's worth it. So first of all, we ended up going down to the power plant. Like WCW hired me. I was the first of 21 cruiserweights that they hired to do a reality show, like Real World at the time. And it was basically going to be a version of Tough Enough. So Eric Bischoff, I think he had like the first Tough Enough idea because he was going to do it with us, the cruiserweights that he hired, put us in a house, basically, show us working our way through the ranks, even though like most of us had already been wrestling for 6-7 years. And then finally we make it to WCW Nitro or Monday Nitro. And then, that's how we start our career, but it was going to be a reality series. But before, I guess before that could take off, like they kiboshed that idea. So then, I was sitting home making killer money because WCW weren't afraid to pay pretty good, And they were like, hey, if you can, we want you to come down to the power plant. Chris Canyon and them did. And just hang out down there and train while you guys are waiting to go on TV. So me and Shane Helms, we go to the power plant and like we get down there and like, there's a bunch of just goofs in the ring, like, like hurting and stuff. And, me and Shane, I got a concussion like the second day I was there. Like was like walking around, didn't know what I was doing. I woke up in a McDonald's basically. And, Shane's like, dude, or, like, what's up with you? Like, you okay? Where are we at? And he's like, we're in Atlanta. And I was like, what? But anyway, these guys down there, like a lot of them were really green and just like hurting them. So me and Shane got together and I'm like, dude, we need to go to Paul Orndorff, and his office was there. And we need to tell him like, hey man, we're going home. Like, we're not going to stay here and just beat up our bodies for nothing. Like, we're more advanced than these guys here. And, like we could get more out of going home and just training in our own ring. So I was like, dude, you know how this is going to go? Cause we've heard stories about Paul, like stabbing people, like, trying to cut people and just fight people. So like we went in with a plan. I was like, dude, if he goes for that drawer, like we got to drop, because like you didn't know, like you heard all these stories and we didn't know how he was going to take it. So we go in there, we're like, hey, Paul, like we've been getting hurt since we've been here. Or, like I was like, I've got hurt, got a concussion. Like, somebody need me in the temple just on a simple drop. I was doing a drop down. They were trying to run over me and like about killed me. So it's like, we want to go home. We're going to go home and train at home. And he looked at us and he's like, okay, yeah, you guys are good. I don't even know why you're here anyways. And I was like, okay. And then I looked at Shane and Shane looked at me. And we were like, that wasn't the response. We thought we were going to have to fight him. And, but he told us to leave. But needless to say, like we get home, Jimmy Hart calls us and he's like, hey, baby, what are you doing? Like, they got you on the to be fired list. And I'm like, dude, Paul just told us to go home and then he just put us on the list trying to fire us. And like, oh, but Jimmy's like, don't worry about it. I got this great idea for you. And I was like, okay, like don't worry. He's like, we're going to fly you down. We're going to go over this idea and then we're going to get you in the studio. We're going to do this music gimmick, like like a pop band, like, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, because they were hot at the time. And I was like, okay, but Jimmy, I can't sing. Like, what? We're going to do this music thing. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll do it in the studio. And I was like, okay. And we did, man. Like Jimmy had this idea that we were gonna be this super baby face, like, team bop group that actually sings and performs. And his ultimate thing was like we were gonna like go to arenas and actually like sing and perform as music, like a pop band. And I'm going, this is gonna be fucking horrible. I just like I was going, this is horrible. Like none of us could sing. Like, like I can't dance. Like nobody can dance. The Nitro Girls, they were trying to teach us how to dance. And like, so we go to the studio, we do these, we went to the same studio, I think, that the Backstreet Boys did all their music in. Like Jimmy had those connections. And like we do these songs and like the next thing you know, Arn Anderson, like he's got us going out, like 4 times a show to get heat, like because immediately all Arn seen was like, oh, the best group we got here, and we would open the show up, before any matches would go out, would lip sing this horrible song, and then we'd go out like after the second match, then we'd go out right before intermission, would go out after intermission, and then right before the main event, like here comes 3 count again.
Damn.
And then on like all the house shows, and like we'd do it at TV. And dude, by the time we would get out there before the main event, like the people, they would be throwing everything in the ring at us. And the green circles we had to use them as shields by that point because like people were throwing that much shit at us. And but the cool thing was like every night, man, for months and months, like we would get to that point. Arn loved it. He thought it was the greatest thing ever. And then he's like, we're gonna send Sid down. Like we're not gonna play his music. We're gonna let him slowly walk down, and the people will see the people slowly erupt as he gets closer and closer. And like that's the case. So like we'll be in the ring and have our backs to the entrance, and Sid would just start walking out real slow, just walking down the entrance. And then we'd grab the mic. We're like, we knew you guys would get it because they'd start cheering for Sid. We're like, we knew you guys would get it. We're the greatest pop band ever. Thank you. And then like, by the time everybody's erupting, like we'd turn around and then Sid just to fucking destroy it and then throw us out of the ring. And then they'd go into the main event. So like, it ended up being an amazing hill, group. Like here's this young, pretty, like small, these tiny boy band guys, and then in a man's world, and like the people just hated it, and it was fun, man. Like it ended up being something fun.
Did you ever try to figure out which Backstreet Boy member you were?
Whichever the worst one was.
Okay.
If you go back,
Okay.
if you go back and you watch our like dancing and stuff, like it's funny because like Shane would get so irritated with me, and Evan would, because like these guys would be there, like they'd be in the back like trying to really get this dance down or whatever, and I'm like, all right, yeah, that's cool, like I got it, man, I got it. And then like you'll see Evan and Shane trying to be like in sync, trying to do the actual dance we worked on, and you see me over there in just some world of my own doing some like Indian rain dance or something. It was horrible. Like
that was outstanding. I love that era. Lindsay, you're not overly familiar with a lot of the history of wrestling, but maybe this is it. Maybe we finally found what's going to bring you in a boy band group.
Absolutely. Backstreet Boy fan. Come on.
Do you still remember any of the songs or dances?
Just like a few words. I never knew the songs whenever I was singing them. I never knew it. Like we're in the studio and I'm reading it off a card anyway. Like, Shane and Evan, they're taking it all serious. Like Shane's trying to rap it, and like Evan's trying to be Mr. like Suave. If you know that phrase, like he had the abs and he was Mr. Pretty Boy, and I was in there like I couldn't remember nothing. Like I've been already too much, so like I'm reading it off a card trying to remember the words. Like I knew like the hook of our songs. That's it. Everything else was just me lip singing and wrong words.
Scottish says that Shannon looks great, and I was actually thinking that you don't seem to age, my friend.
And like I tell you what, it's hard getting older and trying to fight that whole aging thing. But yeah, man, like I work hard. Like I still work out 5-6 days a week. I'm in the gym at 5 a.m. every morning. So
is Devon. Jesus.
I am not.
She acts like it's a bad thing, Shannon.
Dude,
Listen.
I love it. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Getting up at 5 a.m. and going to the gym. I tell you what, like, you know, by the time everybody else wake up, I feel like I've accomplished something. So, like, some people call me back, but that's my day, man.
While they're
Did you
sleeping,
cut your hair?
No, I got dreads.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta have my dreads redone.
Can't.
So
You have your hat on, so it doesn't look like there's anything underneath it. That's why I was asking.
True.
you can cut.
take my
Hey,
they're
Shannon.
weed, bro.
You can always come to my area.
Oh
I
my
need-
god.
That's the easy way, right? The easy way.
I haven't had a haircut in almost 15 years.
We can tattoo you too, man.
Oh, please
Oh,
don't.
that's cool.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please
I can
don't.
What
put
do you think? What do you think would be a good skull tattoo for him, Shannon?
Good skull. Yeah. Oh man, we could do like a real bright pink one.
Yes.
Oh hell!
I don't know if it would show.
No pink.
No pink.
That's not only October for breast cancer month. That's the only way.
We could put a picture of Bubba on your head.
Oh god.
Put Bubba's portrait.
You never have to look at it because it's on top of your head.
I was half expecting Devon to hang up again and be like, nope, I'm done. Nope.
Internet cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Devon, did you ever have to dance in the ring?
Yeah,
Yes.
with Rikishi.
Oh, yeah.
Taylor, I'm begging you. I'm begging you.
Do you want me to show the video, Devon?
Yes.
Shut up, Taylor. All right. Right before we went out, you know, I guess Brian Christopher, who was probably one of the biggest jokesters around, and did things to mess with you. You know, they would do the dance that they do normally. The three of them used to do in the ring. It was an electric slide, and I said, Brian, I said, which way do I go first? Do I go left? He goes, go left, go left. I said, Brian, are you sure? He goes, yeah, go left. Don't worry about it. Trust me, Devon. And I should have known better because we're on live TV. And Rikishi gets it down. Boom, we bow our heads. And I hear Rikishi go, 1, 2, 3. So, of course, I go to my left. I go, oh, shit. I bump into Brian easily, uncontrollably. And I'm sitting up there going, Brian, asshole. You're an asshole. I will say that I quickly recuperated and went right real quick.
Nice.
But yeah,
All right.
I'm
All
gonna have to
right.
find that video.
Got a question here. You really impressed with your match against Nathan Jones. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I actually do. I remember the match. Yeah, like one of the things that I always tried to do is, you know, and actually Rikishi, talking about Rikishi. So whenever I first got to WWE, Rikishi sit down and we were talking because I was asking him, I'm like, hey man, like I really want to have a long career. You know, give me some advice. And Kishi told me, he goes, it's longevity. He goes, think about longevity. Like, remember that word. So like thinking about that, and like I'll tie this into the Nathan Jones thing, but thinking about that, like my entire career in WWE, I wanted to take what they would give me and I wanted to use my strengths. And like, you know, my spot a lot of the time in WWE was to make the bigger guys look better because I'd go out there and I'd bump my ass off for them. And like one of the things I always like, you know, like prided myself on was being creative and using my abilities, like whether it was flips or whatever the case may be, to show off that talent, that larger talent. And like Nathan was one of those guys that I was able to do that with a lot, just because of his strength, because of his size. Like there was just a lot of creative things that I could do to make him look good and make him look even better, you know, than like he could wrestle somebody his size or one of the bigger guys. And that match in particular, like I remember doing stuff with Nathan that I really tried to use my abilities and, you know, my physical, I guess, or whatever you want to call them, to make it look as impressive as possible. And like whether it was Nathan or Brock Lesnar or, like Great Khali or any of those, larger guys that was really strong. Like I always did that, man. And like I had fun doing it. Like a lot of the guys would get mad because like, everybody wants to win and everybody wants to be champion. But I always felt and went in with the mentality is like people will recognize how hard I work by how great I make somebody else look. And that was the case several times, like with Vince. Like Vince would come to me and say stuff, or like give an innovation whenever I got to the back for something that I would do for the larger guys. So like that's something I prided myself. Yeah, that match very well.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, of course, you're still going strong. You're still doing it after all these years. Do you keep up with WWE, AEW, Impact, and all of those companies?
Not I don't get to watch it much, like honestly, man, because like from 5:38 to about 9 at night, like I'm going. So I don't, like I keep up with it on social media more so than I being able to watch live shows. Uh, Somebody that I know is going to debut, or one of the boys calls me and goes like, "Hey man, like I'm wrestling so and so tonight, like watch it, just kind of see what you think." I'll do it then, but I don't have time these days to sit there in front of the TV and just watch the product.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's quite common. A lot of our guests, like, you start moving on. It's not really you're moving on from the industry, but you realize there's probably more to it than that. But is there anybody out there that in the few moments you have watched, is there anybody out there that you think, oh, this is a young Shannon Moore right here?
A young Shannon Moore, man, like I just think it's a different generation, and like there's a different style now. Like I'm not comparing to like my style or nothing, but I think there's some very talented people out there, and like people that like I look at and I go like, man, like these guys are good. Like I'm super proud of Miz, like where Miz is at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like that dude, man, he's worked his tail off like to get to where he's at. He's damn good. And when Miz first comes, like I got to work with him a lot. Like me and Wang, we wrestled him and Morrison a lot. Like just like the goal was for him to get better, like so he could move on to big, obviously. And like I'm super proud to see what he's doing. But like in AEW, like I was a huge fan, and I did like something really special, and they just let it go. Because like I was a huge Rey Mysterio fan, and I know like Rey Mysterio gave me hope, like watching him come in WCW, and then like I didn't get there till a couple of years after Rey got there, but like it gave me hope as a smaller guy. And I think like even with fans that's trying to overcome like what like whether it's in the sports industry or a smaller guy can look at somebody like Ray and like really take that, and it helps them push and chase their dreams. But I think Marco Stunt, whenever he was in AEW, I think if they would have done that right, like he was such a small guy, like he could have been their version of Ray. And I just think he would have touched so many people out there, man. Cause like, Ray had that effect on a lot of people and a lot of wrestlers, and just probably people that were chasing their dreams, but smaller. Like I love the Jurassic Express in AEW. Like like those guys together, they're pretty awesome. And I can just see like, that being a Disney cartoon one day. So I think that could be big. And I'm always an underdog, like, the guys that, probably don't get the chances that some people get. So like, that's why like, a Marco Stunt or like the Jurassic Express, like it just makes me happy to see them whenever they do get success, or, like I'm always cheering for people like that. As far as WWE goes, like, I was a huge Dexter Loomis fan. Like Samuel Shaw,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a character that I think like if it would have been presented right, and I think it could have been a really cool like just dramatic type character that people would have tuned in and bought tickets for. Especially with Dexter, the TV series, as big as that was, if they would have kind of capitalized on that, like I feel like he could have been a pretty big deal. For WWE. But, like, obviously, dude, like WWE, they got their stuff down to a science. They know, exactly who's going to bring them money and who's going to bring them ratings. So, like, I'm not saying they're doing nothing bad, but, like, I do feel like there's been some people there, like Ruby Soho, whenever she was there, like I always thought, I was like, man, this girl's money. Rhea Ripley, like, they are using her and like putting her in that top spot. And like whenever I did coaching, because I was coaching down at the PC a couple of times a month for about a year,
Mhm.
and she was there, and I was going, man, what a stud she is! Like she's gonna make the company, like a lot of money, and she's gonna make a lot of money and be successful. So yeah, man, like, there's a lot of talent there. It's just, like whether or not, like they stick around, whether or not they bust their ass and they get those opportunities needed. But it's cool to see. It's cool to see somebody, come through the whole system and then shine, man, and get opportunities. So I'm always rooting for the underdogs, though. That's my big thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I know we're getting close to our time with you here. So, before we wrap this up, we'd like to give you the forum. If there's anything you want to promote, anything that you want to talk about, or, of course, give us your socials so people can reach out and find you.
Okay. Yeah, man. These days, like, a lot of people know, like, I'm working at a treatment center. It's a drug and alcohol treatment center. A few hours a week. It's called Riverside Recovery. And like, I work with pro athletes there that come through, as well as like, doctors, lawyers, whatever the case may be, the general public. But man, like, whenever it comes to like wrestling, and even, our supporters in wrestling, like, if you're struggling with something, man, especially like addiction or alcoholism, like, like that's such a big thing these days. And it's just something that we live with in 2022. It's normal, like for somebody in somebody's family to, like either know somebody or be in contact with somebody that's struggling. Like, dude, reach out for help to somebody, like, like whether it's me or whoever it is, like try to get help with this. Cause like, mental illness, drug addiction, alcoholism, like this stuff's a real thing. And, in our business, like we've lost a lot of people to it. And, man, there's nothing like seeing somebody change their life. So if that's something that you're struggling with, and like really like ask for help. So like, that's just one of my big passions today, is just trying to help people change their lives for the better. And hopefully, save a few lives, if possible, just by letting people know that it's normal, like those struggles can be normal. So you're no different. Like if you are struggling with this, just ask for help.
I love that
Great.
so much.
That's great. Thank you.
That's great. Yeah.
Well,
All right.
I hate to go, but we got to let you go. I know you got other things you got to do. You're a very busy man, and you probably got to get ready to go to bed to get up in the morning to go to the gym.
I'm old, man.
Say it again.
I said, what are you trying to say? I'm old.
I think that's what he said.
My bedtime is about 9.
Absolutely. Well, Shannon, thank you so much for being on the show, man. Nothing but the best for you and all your success with the new shop in Tampa. And, feel free to, come on to the show whenever you want to promote anything. You let us know. We'd love to have you on there.
Yes, sir, man. Like anything I can do for you guys, hit me up, man. I'm here for you. Devon, I love you, buddy. Like you look good for 8.
Thank you. I try. I
I
try.
like him.
Thanks again, Shannon. We appreciate you, man.
Great. Okay.
All right. Oh, and then there she is once again, still in the spotlight. All right.
Thank you. All right, that's Lindsay's segment. Oh, okay, I guess not.
See how that is.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Really nice. I like him.
Yeah, I didn't know about the
I
treatment stuff that he did.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I admire people like
Sorry?
that. Able to help.
I said I didn't know about the treatment center stuff that he does.
Yeah, that's cool, because like he said, so many of, our brothers in the business have fallen victim to substance abuse and things like that. And whether they lost thing or they lost their lives, you know, it's a tragedy. Not only for the person who loses their lives or everything, but the family that they have, they lose as well, you know.
Mhm.
So it's great that he's there helping, trying to get them on the road to recovery. And I think that's great. And Shannon Moore has always been that guy to really, really help out others when needed. You know, kudos, my hat goes off to Shannon. You know, thank you for doing that. Because like I said, we need it so much for so many of the wrestlers nowadays who might fall victim to substance abuse and that really need that help. And if Shannon's willing to give it to them and they're willing to listen, then that's a fantastic job.
Yeah,
That's right.
Very much so.
That's right.
Very much so. I love that his favorite memory involved 3 count. You know, the boy band stuff. I would not have guessed that because normally, Devon, I'm sure you would agree. You come across these stars who may have a more quote unquote embarrassing gimmick in their careers, and they don't really like to talk about it. They don't, you know, they don't like to remember it. But it's kind of cool that he realized it was unique, it was fun, and he went with it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, sometimes we're not proud of some of the gimmicks that are given to us, but we make the best of it. We move on. And you know something? He might not have liked it, but I'm sure there was some fun moments as well. I know he had some trying moments and probably bad times, but he had some laughing moments, you know, because, you know, people knew the group and, you know, they got good response from places. So I didn't think they were bad at all, but I did find it that they were, you know, trying to be a boy band. And to see Shannon actually dance, it was hilarious. It was.
It was hilarious to see you dance too.
Yeah. Does he dance around the home, around the house at all, Taylor?
Well, he just had back surgery, so he ain't danced in about a year.
Not now, but just in general.
No, not really. Today he actually was showing me his sexy stance in the kitchen. That was pretty.
You have a sexy stance, Yvonne?
Leave it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make that noise.
Can you show it?
I think it's too graphic.
Oh.
Okay.
Let's just say I was.
I could just take my glasses off. I can't see a thing.
Does it involve the lack of clothing, I take it?
This is not covering your eyes, man. I'm sorry.
No. I say, were you clothed during this sexy stance?
Yes.
Oh,
I was clothed. Right. I was just doing things that were very provocative. Yeah. Yeah, no, the kids were up, so I couldn't do that. I had to wait till they ran into the room for a second, do my sexy pose, and got right out.
Yeah.
Thanks, Taylor.
No problem.
You always know.
Next time he does it, can you take a picture?
I'll try, but every time he does something dumb and I try to record him, he always stops immediately once I get the phone out.
Yeah, because he knows that people like me and Lindsay are going to beg for that footage, that picture, that audio, and we're going to hold on to it as long as we can.
Yeah.
I try to blackmail him all the time.
One day. We'll get him one day.
So sad. Never will you ever get him.
We'll get him.
I don't know if I would say never, Devon, but but we appreciate that.
Never.
Your time's coming.
Yeah.
Just like the phone tap when Elvis Duran was morning, and they do these phone taps, which is hilarious. And I told Taylor, I said, "You'll never get me." I said, "I'm coming a mile away. I'll never get phone taps. Never."
So is this you telling me you want to be phone tapped?
I think it is.
Because I'll figure it out before it gets any further, before it even gets.
How? I'll just know.
All right, challenge accepted.
Okay.
We'll make it happen.
We got things to do
here, Devon. So. I mean, all it takes is you to take an edible, and we'll be able to get you. So.
I'll only do that before.
Yeah, Taylor, we'll make it happen. We'll definitely.
Devon thinks that he can't get got. You can't. He thinks that you can't surprise him because he'll know about it.
Will he though? Will he?
I will.